with my wife dying, I thought my world was over. And that's a fact, because she was always there. Even if I was on the road and she was, back home in England when we lived here and then in the States, you know what I mean? She was always on the end of the phone.
Obviously, you lost your wife in 2016 to cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't imagine how difficult it is because I'm married and I've got kids and you've been with your wife from 17 years old, weren't you? So you've had a whole life together.
Well, 16. We were kids together before, I mean, we were children. We were like 10 or 11 when we first...
Wow, you were that young, yeah. So I just was going to ask, how do you deal with that grief?
Kiss chase, when you.
So she's pretty much your first girlfriend, the first kind of girl you met her.
Oh yeah.
I love that. I love that you. I mean, it's so rare that people stay together a lot long. So
well, we were lucky,
isn't it?
You see. I mean, a lot of teenagers, of course, you're becoming. You know what I mean? Things happen to your body that are different when you go through puberty. You know what I mean? So things happen, and of course. You go with somebody, hopefully, when you're a teenager, and sometimes that's just lustful. Well, I never, at the beginning, I was in love with my wife when I was a kid, before I knew anything about sex.
Yeah.
Be honestly, and it's a fact. I was in love with the person. And I fell in love with the person. The sex, of course, the lovemaking came after that, but it was definitely a love thing first. It wasn't like a lot of kids, they're lustful and rightfully so. I'm not condemning it, but I was lucky, and my wife always said that we were so lucky that we were born where we were born in South Wales, just around the corner from one another, and basically I was 7 months older than her, so we grew up together. And we loved one another ever since we saw one another. So that was a wonderful, wonderful thing. I don't think that happens too often.
Yeah,
to
It's
anybody.
very rare to feel that and to have that connection. Because in life, people move on really quickly. They get bored. They don't stick together when things get tough. But I'm inspired by because my mum and dad never got married, so I didn't have a positive, role model in terms of marriage. So when I hear and see people together for long, it really inspires me because I think, I can be happy. I can be with my wife forever. And
yes.
So that's the thing. I was going back to the grief. Like, how do you deal with that loss when the person you love is not there anymore?
Unbelievable. I've never experienced anything like it. I never had before. It was a thing that. I mean, my father died first. He had lung problems. He was a coal miner, and my mother. So those things. That's a natural, more or less. You lose your parents.
You're expecting that, aren't you? Kind of thing.
Yeah. I think it's terrible to lose children, for instance, which thank God, it hasn't happened to me. But with my wife dying, I thought my world was over, and that's a fact. Because she was always there. Even if I was on the road and she was, back home in England when we lived here and then in the States, you know what I mean? She was always on the end of the phone. Anytime, but every day.
It's that person that's like always there, yeah.
Always there. So you get so used to, even if you're not actually, looking at one another at the time, you're talking on the phone, she was part of me and I was part of her.
100%.
No matter where we were, that's a fact. And when it happened, it was like losing part of me. She was, part of me died with her then. And it's taken me a while to try and, fight back into
Do you think getting back into the music helped and getting busy with work and kind of back into the media and stuff?
Definitely.
Helped,
As soon as that first night in Hampton Court, as soon as I got on that stage and the audience lifted me, I thought, I started to breathe better, and I thought, I think I can do this now. And it's gotten better, and I saw a therapist when she died, a grief therapist, and she said to me, time will heal. You don't know it now, because you're going through this terrible thing, but it will, when the memories come to you and, you've got to think about the wonderful life you've had together and let that, if you can, once you start seeing things clearer, but you don't at the time, you don't see anything.
Deep grief, yeah. Is it a physical? Is it a physical pain as well? Because people talk about broken heart, and physical pain of not having that person. Do you feel that? Do you feel like an ache in your stomach and a physical?
Yes. I felt that when I had tuberculosis when I was a kid, right? So my wife would be playing in the street. Who became my wife. She wasn't my wife then, but she was playing out in the street with the kids, and I longed to be with this person. And even at 12 and 13-year-old, when I was ill in bed, I had a pain in my chest for her. And they say about a heartache, and it's a fact. You get a physical pain. I did. I felt it. That I couldn't wait to get out of bed, to get the TB over and done with. Thank God it took 2 years, but it went away. So I could get out and see this girl, and she said she felt the same way. As soon as we had the first kiss. And it's a fact, honestly. I mean, it sounds very romantic and sort of, but it's true.
BBC Sounds. Music, radio, podcasts.